I promise you, I will not let you down.
The trucks parked outside illegally should move.
Canada's Conservatives will meet our Paris climate commitment.
Enough with the woke. Sorry, Mr. Speaker, I take that back.
To champion our conservative principles.
We are the party of law and order.
To call in the auditors.
We haven't yet decided whether we're going to call for the government to impose a mandatory test or vaccination.
And we will win the next election. Canada must not ignore the reality of climate change.
Why weren't Canadians vaccinated in January and February like everyone else?
Welcome, everybody, to Controlled Opposition, episode 14. I am your host, Greg Wycliffe. Tonight, we're going to be talking about how Elon Musk labeled CBC government-funded media, and how Pierre Poilievre seems to be wanting to take credit for this. And Elon Musk also said, go to jail if you're trying to give kids sex changes. We're going to talk about how the Conservative Party and Pierre Poilievre, although he loves to support Elon Musk, had nothing to say about this. Turns out Elon Musk is a bigger conservative fighting for Canadian values in Canada, more so than Pierre Poilievre. And of course, we're going to talk about how Pierre Poilievre is trying to change the conversation. He's kind of scrambling for relevance. He's scrambling for talking points because he doesn't want to talk about Chinese interference. He doesn't want to talk about the transgender agenda. He doesn't want to talk about mass migration, and on and on and on. So this Pierre Poilievre, the Conservative Party, is trying to scrounge around and somehow find talking points that might keep them relevant today. And I do want to have a little caveat because I know I got Elon Musk in the title. It's called Controlled Opposition. I can't say that I can entirely trust Elon Musk. So that's an episode for another day in terms of being very highly critical of the decisions that Elon Musk has been making. I like a lot of them, but some of them are a little bit suspect. I've noticed in his improvements for Twitter, he's saying free speech, free speech, free speech. There's still a lot of people who are not on the platform still. And also, he kind of presents the solution to every bug on Twitter to be like, hey, just send me money and give me more of your data. And that's going to solve all the problems. We're going to get rid of the bots that way. And to that, I would say, well, that would actually just raise the bar in terms of how hard it would be to make a bot. And essentially, that would give the opportunity for people who have a lot of resources. That would actually just make it so only the people with more resources have bots, right? And I would hate to see the day where Elon Musk implements all these things on Twitter and he's like, see, there's no more bots anymore. There's nothing more can be manipulated on this website. He's kind of touted that a little bit. He hasn't said that exactly, but he's kind of implying that, which is simply not the case. Because anyway, that's a whole other discussion. Let's not get sidetracked by that. But I hope everybody is doing well. I'm sure you heard about this news already. CBC has been labeled government-funded media. Okay, and of course, in the Canadian news cycle, everyone is associating this with Pierre Poilievre. It was Pierre Poilievre who did this. And of course, Pierre Poilievre tried to spike his flag in this decision. He said, hey, this was when he sent this letter, if I'm not mistaken, when Pierre Poilievre sent this letter to Elon Musk requesting that they put a government-funded media label on the CBC Twitter account. This was after the big head-to-head between the BBC and Elon Musk. So it was this huge hoopla that happened between Elon Musk and the BBC. They labeled BBC government or publicly funded media. So Pierre Poilievre's getting ahead of the curve saying, hey, Elon, I know you're my buddy. Hey, Elon, I know you're my buddy. I know you're my pal. Can you please put the government funded label on CBC? Elon Musk, if to my knowledge, did not directly engage with this letter directly in any way. And I want to really emphasize this. This is a trend that Elon Musk has been doing already. Okay, he's already been doing this. Twitter adds more government-funded labels to global news outlets. It wasn't just BBC. It was the Australian Broadcasting Company. It was Australia's Special Broadcasting Service. It was New Zealand's public broadcaster. Sweden, Catalonia. Where do we got? What else do we got here? NPR, of course, and Russia Today. So how many is that? That's almost 10 or so there. It's not a surprise that he did this to CBC, and I think it's foolish to give Pierre Poilievre all the credit. Yet, the media or the media cycle are trying to vilify him. Here we have Jagmeet Singh. Pierre Poilievre doesn't want you to know this. He's taking aim at the CBC, backed by influential interests, corporate media and tech giants owned by U.S. billionaires. He even enlisted one, Elon Musk, to help him take down a Canadian broadcaster. Jagmeet Singh is actually kind of adorable. His tweets kind of read like you're back in grade school or something. It's pretty cute. But, I could go off on a whole tangent talking about Jagmeet Singh, talking about Justin Trudeau, talking about how the liberal media is all up in arms about a fact, which the fact that CBC is labeled as, or CBC is government-funded media. But all that stuff is pretty obvious. I mean, do I have to explain that? I probably don't have to explain that to you. But I will go just into one quote here, which kind of, right here, which kind of summarizes the point. CBC joined NPR and other newsrooms in stepping away from Twitter, noting in a tweet that journalism is impartial and independent. To suggest otherwise is untrue. Right, here we go. SBS, this is an outlet in Australia, worried that the label might lead Twitter users to believe that the outlet is editorially controlled by the government, which is not the case. Right, so they just pay your bills. They just pay the people in the building. They just pay the journalists, but it's not editorially controlled. If it was editorially controlled by the government, do you think they would say that? If the news outlet was editorially controlled by the government, do you think the news outlet would admit that? Do you think anyone would admit that? Oh yeah, the government controls what we say and do. Yeah, obviously not. That would kind of ruin the whole trust with the public, which is the whole reason why Elon Musk is doing this, and it's a responsible thing, because it's like, hey, just so you know, this information is coming, like Russia Today, it's coming from something that's paid for by the Russian government. That's useful information for somebody to know when consuming it online. And I gotta say, guys, when I was preparing for this show, I was like screaming because I watched a Rachel Gilmore video because she's commenting on this, saying, oh my God, like they're attacking CBC. They're attacking CBC. And then at the end, she was like, did you know that Tesla receives government subsidies too? So aren't you going to put a government funded label on the Tesla Twitter account as well? Rachel Gilmore's like, gotcha. And it's like, Rachel, Tesla doesn't tell us the news, does it? No, it does not. Tesla doesn't tell us the news. The whole reason we're putting a label on this is because they tell us the information in the news. This is Rachel Gilmore. Like, I just started screaming because I'm like, man, people are so dumb. People are so dumb. It's crazy. It's actually mind blowing. But yeah, I had a good laugh about that before starting the show. But anyway, I don't need to tell you this. We don't need to explain this. We know this. You know, the CBC is government funded. Not only that, but every single legacy news media outlet in Canada, all the big ones, are subsidized by the government as well. I actually tweeted at Elon Musk to let him know 4 different programs that I know about. $600 million in 2018 came from the government for trusted journalists. There was the COVID fund, and there was a couple of like local government. There's a local journalism initiative. It's a lot of money. It adds up to a lot of money subsidizing journalism in this country. And I think that's a reason why so many journalists are freaking out about this attack on the CBC. And it's like, are you afraid that we're going to label you as partially government funded? Because that's true, right? That's a fact. But of course, you know, we're not here to talk about that. We know that. I wanted to talk about how Mr. Pierre Poilievre is going to pick and choose the opinions that he likes from Elon Musk. Okay, so he likes this one of labeling CBC government-funded media. I really like that, Elon Musk. That's great stuff. I like that. And there's another one here, which is this is from 2022. But you'll see Pierre Poilievre, Elon, it should be Canadian oil and gas, the most ethical and environmentally sound in the world, which I agree with, which I totally agree with. It is a good tweet, especially when Elon Musk is talking about it. But the point is Pierre Poilievre has no shame in retweeting Elon Musk, endorsing Elon Musk. Oh, but what did Elon Musk say recently here? What did he say just the other day? Prison for life. Elon Musk sounds off on parents and doctors who sterilize minor. As the kids say, based. He said, any parent or doctor who sterilizes a child before they are a consenting adult should go to prison for life. Let's say that again. Any parent or doctor who sterilizes a child before they are a consenting adult should go to prison for life. Round of applause for Elon Musk. He's applying common sense. He's saying what's on his mind. He's not afraid to get canceled. This should not be a controversial opinion, especially if you're a conservative. So the question is, Mr. Pierre Poilievre, why would you not retweet something like this? You know, Elon Musk is your recent hero, is he not? He labeled the CBC government-funded media. You know, why not retweet something like this? Some sort of stance like this. Oh, wait, I know why. I think I know why. Because Pierre Poilievre doesn't even believe in that. He does not believe in that. He doesn't want to take the heat for saying something as basic as this. Any parent or doctor who sterilizes a child before they are a consenting adult should go to prison for life. He doesn't want to say that. He doesn't want the heat for that. So I just wanted to bring this up because I think it's a very clear kind of example of what a coward Pierre Poilievre is. He cannot say the most basic thing that even Elon Musk, the owner of a massive tech company, is going to say. Because let's face it, it's not like Elon Musk is super right wing. You know, the media try to make him look like that, but he is really not that right wing. He is very much like I said, he's dialed back the censorship a little bit. A lot of censorship going on. So yeah, where were you on that one, Pierre? Why can you not endorse this opinion from Elon Musk, right? But we're going to get into, what is Pierre Poilievre? What would he rather talk about? Any guesses on what Pierre Poilievre might rather talk about? We all know. Justin Trudeau went on vacation. Oh my God, guys! Justin Trudeau went on vacation and spent like $9,000 on a hotel room. You guys, he spent all this money on a hotel room. Let's read this. Want to live the high life like Justin Trudeau in one of these Jamaican villas? Just find your yes, actually. I would like to do that. Just find yourself some wealthy, powerful friends at the Trudeau Foundation like he did, instead of paying $9,000 or $65,000 per week. Wow. So this is the big gotcha that Pierre Poilievre is trying to talk about to stay relevant. Hey, he went to an expensive Jamaican resort. Dude, you know, just to play devil's advocate here, just because I really feel this is like a nothing burger, okay? Like with everything going on in this country, as a conservative, you're going to focus on this, the fact that he went to some expensive resort on vacation. Ooh, gotcha. Ooh, expensive hotel bill. He is the leader of the country. I'm not surprised if he's going to be spending a whole bunch of money with him and his friends to go on vacation. That like this is not like this is so weak. This is such a weak line of attack. And they just keep going back to it. The conservatives just keep going back to it over and over again. Again, not going to talk about children having sex changes. No, we're going to talk about an expensive hotel room in Jamaica. Great, Pierre. That's fantastic. I don't care. I don't care at all. And I don't think many people, other people should either, compared to what we're up against. And we're going to get into that. We're going to get into that now. This is something that Pierre Poilievre has been doing to try and change the conversation, try to make himself more relevant, and that is talking about crime. The costly coalition of Trudeau NDP have ravaged our streets with crime and drug overdoses. Our common sense conservatives will bring home our brothers and sisters drug-free to safe neighborhoods. Now, I must admit, part of this is a step in the right direction. He is saying a more outlandish thing, which is, Trudeau and NDP are causing all of this crime. That's an exaggeration. That's hyperbole that I think is called for in politics if you want to be effective. Instead of like having your point here, you kind of exaggerate your point. However, the reason this is a huge problem, like always, is Pierre Poilievre is smoke screening the actual issue. Okay. He's smoke screening the actual issue. All of the drugs and despair and the crime and the housing crisis and the inflation, we're led to believe that it has nothing to do with mass migration, that it has nothing to do with the mismanagement and lockdowns over the past 3 years. It has nothing to do with conservatives sitting on their hands and watching the liberals destroy the country, right? Because that's what happened during the pandemic. And all Pierre had to say was, hey, don't spend so much money. That's how we're going to save the country. But lockdowns are okay. But mass vaccinations are okay. But all these deaths of despair is okay. And mass migration is okay too, with all of this destruction happening during COVID as well. All of that's fine. But anyway, let's get into this quick statement of what he said here.
The worst disorder, drug abuse, crime, and chaos are in places run by woke, NDP liberal mayors and premiers. Their policies have unleashed a wicked crime spree across this country.
So the thing is, Pierre, is what about Toronto? We have a conservative premier in Toronto. We have a apparently conservative mayor, John Tory, or at least he's gone now, but he was the mayor for the past little while. He was apparently a conservative. So conservative mayor, conservative premier, and we have, crime on the rise in Toronto. People getting stabbed on the TTC, for example. Man charged in Toronto, subway stabbing, wanted in, he's from Newfoundland apparently. But violence on the TTC is a growing problem in Toronto. I'm biased because I live in Toronto, but it's also one of the largest cities in North America, biggest city in Canada. And, what you just said there, it's because we have a woke mayor and a woke premier. It's like, no, we actually have two conservative like you, Pierre. Like conservative like yourself, Pierre Poilievre. Like as in not a real conservative at all. But and I think that, if you actually wanted to be honest with yourself with part of the problem, you would think, these major cities where crimes are on the uptick. Oh, what are these? These are all sanctuary cities. These are all sanctuary cities, aren't they? Toronto became the first sanctuary city in Canada to enable all residents to access municipal services as of 2022. 7 Canadian cities: Toronto, Hamilton, Vancouver, Ajax, Montreal, Edmonton, and London. And of course, I won't play the clip that came out of Vancouver recently of someone being stabbed in broad daylight outside of a Starbucks. Okay, sanctuary cities. Okay, what is a sanctuary city? Canada has both a domestic and international legal obligation to protect refugees. It's about protecting the refugees. Okay. The sanctuary movement believes it acts of civil initiative to hold Canada accountable to these obligations and to protect refugees from being unfairly treated. We wouldn't want these refugees to be unfairly treated, would we? Okay, but the mass influx of refugees and illegal migrants and immigrants go to major cities. If I'm not mistaken, it's Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal is where 60% of newcomers go in Canada. And of course, the Conservative Party does not want to talk about this. They don't want to talk about the cultural things that are driving these negative trends. The despair from lockdowns and the economic destitution that people are experiencing from lockdowns, the mass migration, which is also going to cause social disunity, and it's going to cause a lot of, people who don't hold Canadian values necessarily, and they take a knife to Starbucks and they feel it's okay to stab somebody right before getting their latte. Okay? If a conservative MP can't bring this up, what the hell are they good for? Because I've noticed a pattern here with what the Conservatives decide to take a stand on. It's always some sort of like nerdy, I'm going to look into some sort of specific piece of legislation. I'm going to look into look how much this hotel room cost. Look how much this hotel room costs. Look how much this, there's some law here on the books about people getting bail sooner. And to be fair, they are correct in terms of the legislation being wrong, but their rhetoric is terrible. The way in which they approach this topic sucks, and it's also dishonest because they're not going to the actual one of the root of the problems, which is mass migration and the way in which we don't instill better Canadian values when people get here, and we just have a revolving door, a one-way street rather, of people coming in into Canada. A million newcomers came last year in Canada. Episode 12 was with Maxime Bernier, so you can go and check that out. We did it all about mass migration, but we went over mass migration on controlled opposition. And there's a lot to talk about. But none of these official Conservative MPs are willing to talk about it. And when it comes to actually like speaking and having good rhetoric, with all of this happening, all we have is Conservative MPs talking about crime statistics. By the way, if you're an expert on crime statistics, or you know somebody who knows more about crime statistics in Canada, please get in touch with me, because I have been trying to look up more like specific crime statistics in Canada, and I'm really having a hard time. So if you or anyone you know is more of an expert on crime statistics, reach out to me on Twitter. Find my contact at gregwycliffe.com. You can find all my stuff there. Get in touch, because I want to know more about crime statistics in Canada. But we have these Conservatives all caught up in the weeds, all caught up in the details of looking, look how much this hotel room cost. Look at this pile of dead bodies. Look at all these statistics over here. They can't actually speak from the heart. They can't actually, have something stronger with what they're talking about. And then meanwhile, we have the whole CBC debacle going on. Pierre is attacking CBC. And then what does Stephen Guilbeault, what does a Liberal MP have no problem saying? Millions of Canadians rely on CBC. Pierre Poilievre wants to shut down these homegrown information services, that's questionable, and sides with U.S. media giants. Pierre is a threat to Canadian democracy. Plain and simple. Pierre is a threat to Canadian democracy. Liberal MPs have no problem lofting out these damning accusations toward Pierre Poilievre for stating a simple fact that the CBC is government funded. Meanwhile, Pierre can't do any of this. He's always on his heels. Everything that happened during the convoy, political prisoners, bank accounts frozen, the insanity of all of that. Trudeau lying under oath. Trudeau basically separating the country and saying, "Hey, you unvaccinated people we don't like you anymore. You can't come on planes or trains." Pierre had almost next to nothing to say about any of that. He didn't say you're a threat to democracy. He didn't say you're a disgrace to a free and democratic society. He has not said anything like that. But then when Elon Musk puts a label on CBC, we have Liberal MPs saying Poilievre is a threat to democracy. They are not afraid to throw punches and make these like crazy outlandish statements. And this is a reason why we're losing, guys. This is a reason why the Conservative Party sucks, because they're afraid to play ball. They're afraid to say these things. They're afraid, man, they're just total crap, man. They're just total crap. But this one pissed me off the most. We're going to get into our last kind of topic here, which is Pierre Poilievre talking about the CBC. Okay. So strap in for this. Get ready for this. Are you ready?
Next question. Thank you. The CBC, frankly, is a biased propaganda arm of the Liberal Party, and frankly, negatively affects all media. For example, CP is negatively affected by the fact that you have to report favorably on the CBC if you want to keep your number one taxpayer-funded client happy. We need a neutral and free media, but not a propaganda arm for the Liberal Party. And when I'm Prime Minister, we're going to have a free press where everyday Canadians decide what they think, rather than having Liberal propaganda jammed down their throats.
Liberal propaganda jammed down your throats, you say?
Assalamu alaikum to the 1.7 million Muslims across Canada and over 1 billion all around the world, as we pledge to fight anti-Jewish hatred at every turn.
This is from his Twitter account. Join the Nepalese community on Parliament Hill to light the Diya and welcome the Nepali New Year. This is Aaron O'Toole, part of the same Conservative Party, wearing a Ukraine flag, all about Slava Ukraine, supporting Ukraine. And this is Melissa Lanceman, the deputy leader for the Conservative Party of Canada. Transgender Day of Visibility, respect and dignity for all. What else do we got? Here's another Conservative MP celebrating transgenderism. Pierre Poilievre, you are shoving the liberal propaganda down our throats. You are shoving the liberal propaganda down our throats. You're saying, oh, the CBC propaganda arm, they're sending in all this horrible liberal propaganda. You're pushing the same propaganda, bro. Pierre Poilievre is pushing the exact same messaging as Justin Trudeau on his Twitter account. So what exactly is going to change here? And I think what's so funny too is this sort of ideology, this like liberal ideology, this wokeism, whatever you want to call it, this liberal propaganda, it's not just in CBC, it's in every media outlet. It's in every major legacy media outlet. And it's in the Conservative Party of Canada. It's everywhere. And I just want to emphasize this for people who wonder, oh, why do you criticize Pierre Poilievre all the time in the Conservative Party? Because this ideological war, this like warring of ideas, this spiritual battle, this kind of back and forth we're in between like globalist ideas, woke ideas, and more nationalistic ideas. It's an ongoing battle that's much, 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 much bigger than the next election. Okay, the next election is just a sort of detail or a footnote, because if we lose the hearts and minds of people to this globalism, this wokeism, then it's over, folks. It's over. Men are women, women are men. None of it matters. Our history doesn't matter. There is no honor. There is no, respect for our veterans. There is no respect for freedom anymore. It's just completely over. If we continue to, I need to strategize to not get called racist. I need to strategize to not get called transphobic. That is us losing. That's just us losing more ground until, if you haven't seen this, holy shit, new bill would criminalize protests and offensive remarks in parts of Canada against the LGBTQ plus community and drag queens. Of course, this is not passed, and it probably isn't going to pass, but the fact that it was even tabled is insane and ridiculous. And the fact that, again, no Conservative MP seems to be able to comment on this, it's completely insane. But guess who did actually at least draw some attention to this? Elon Musk. Once again, Elon Musk is doing more to fight against these crazy woke ideas in Canada than Pierre Poilievre, the leader of the Conservative Party. He is doing more. He has drawn more attention to this insane bill than any other elected Conservative politician in the country of Canada. I mean, obviously, thank you, Elon Musk, for doing that. But at the same time, guys, this should be a massive red flag for this Conservative Party. Okay, because they're reaching new lows every day in terms of things that they are not willing to talk about. Just new lows in terms of their cowardice of wanting to turn away from things. Of course, there is Billboard. The whole thing with Billboard Chris against transgenderism was everywhere. It was everywhere online. Everyone was talking about it. Every outlet was talking about it. But absolute crickets from Pierre Poilievre, the Conservative Party. Because, I mean, and why would they? I mean, like, they are, I just want to bring this up again because it's completely absurd. It's like they support it. They're supporting it here. And as we covered with Billboard Chris last episode 13, it's Billboard Chris and Jeremy McKenzie, if you didn't catch it, this Conservative Party supported Bill C-4, which is the gender transitioning of children and essentially criminalizing therapy for kids who don't feel comfortable in their own bodies. It's this is insane. This is insane. This is scary. And, it's not going anywhere. Rob Primo pointed this out. Do you know what this is right here? This is a picture that speaks volumes. It says, I'm absolutely owned and operated by the Liberals. This is Larry Brock, MP. Was the only Conservative member I had a grain of respect for left in the party. And he doesn't even respect himself. This is something for, wearing these apparently is something to do with violence against women. And you have to wear the heels. That's the only way you can stop violence against women. Yeah, okay. Maybe have a backbone. Maybe have a backbone and comment on the mass migration that's happening. Because if I'm not mistaken, there's probably some foreigners coming into this country that don't respect women because they don't have Canadian values because they come from a different place, right? But Chelsea Hillier made a funny comment. Violence against women. Chelsea Hillier, nothing screams I respect women like mocking us in a pair of pink high heels. Very well said. Very well said. But that about does it, folks. That about does it. I don't know. Should I jump into the chat for a second? I don't know what else there really is to say. I just kind of wanted to give you guys an update on all the BS that Pierre Poilievre has been up to, how Elon Musk is doing a much better job than him in terms of actually being a conservative. Yeah, I think that's pretty well everything. Just a short one tonight. Just wanted to keep you up to date. Oh, I guess there's this. This is Pierre Poilievre. It is nuts that Canadians trained abroad as doctors and nurses and can't work in hospitals. Talked with Canada One TV, Badar. This is once again, he's bringing in foreign workers. Pierre Poilievre is focused on bringing in foreign workers, nothing to do with the unvaccinated nurses and doctors. I did an event last weekend with Dr. Patrick Phillips, who lost his license, with Sarah C. from Frontline Nurses, who still doesn't have her job back because she's unvaccinated. This is egregious, guys. This is totally shameful. Professionals who were born and raised here, who can't even go to work because they're unvaccinated. And Pierre Poilievre is not busy talking about that. He's actually acting like that hasn't even happened, by the way. We've talked about this many times on the show, so we're kind of beating a dead horse here, but it's absolutely shameful. It's absolutely shameful that this guy is, supposed to be the answer, but he's certainly not the answer. And I think more and more that Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives in general, they are really there to convince you that they are fighting against the enemy. They are there to convince you they're fighting against the enemy. That is their main focus. It's not about doing the bare minimum. It's not about, pandering to the people necessarily for their vote, but it's to keep up the ruse of like, yes, we are going to protect you. We're going to fight this evil. Actually, you know what? I remembered one clip that I wanted to bring up. This is, I've seen this person before and they irritate me, and I'm just going to play this clip because it really exemplifies how watered down the conversation is in the mainstream media when it comes to this. It's really sickening. It's like a total weird other dimension that people are living in when they actually watch CBC. This is a conservative pundit named Anthony. And so let's just see what he has to say here. This is in regards to the vacation, the Jamaican vacation, because that's the most important thing for conservatives right now is an expensive hotel room. Jesus.
My down is Justin Trudeau and Liberal Party unity. And in particular, the story that everybody saw today, right, was about the latest vacation that Justin Trudeau went on with one of his extraordinarily wealthy friends that he may or may not have paid for. But that's not the interesting part of the story for me. What I find most interesting here is that this story was very clearly leaked by Liberals. And when you read the story, Liberals, they weren't prepared to give their quotes on attribution. But there was plenty of people who were willing to put it out there that people both inside the Prime Minister's office, in Liberal end, and even in caucus had expressed some form of incomprehension as to why he keeps doing these sorts of things and the bad optics. So for me, as a political observer, this sends the communication to me that the knives are out somewhere. And it's going to be interesting to see how this evolves. Justin Trudeau has faced a lot of adversity from outside of his own party. But it's very different. I can attest to you as a conservative who's been through about 40 civil wars in the last 4 years. It's a heck of a lot different when you're dealing with an internal insurrection.
Well, Laura D'Angelo, on that.
This is just such a bad take that this guy is sharing. He's saying, oh, the Liberals are, they're rebelling against Trudeau. That's why they released this story. Liberals have never cared about all this little petty money stuff. So what are you even talking about? They know full well that the Conservatives are the one that focus on money and distract people with money and waste people's time talking about money instead of talking about cultural issues. And the one part of the reason why the Liberals are so effective in Canada is because they do focus on social, cultural issues. Hey, you're a threat to democracy. Hey, you don't care about black people. So why would the Liberals leak that to say to get Trudeau in trouble. It doesn't make any sense. You know what I think? You know what I think is much more likely? The whole reason that this Jamaica thing has come up. Oh no, Trudeau bad. Trudeau bad because Jamaican hotel room sounds a lot better than Trudeau bad because of Pierre Elliott Trudeau Foundation entire board resigned because of election interference from China. They're trying to bury that story, obviously. They are obviously trying to bury that story. And I'm sorry, conservative pundits like this are just they're helping bury it. They're helping bury it. What the hell did that guy even just say? You know, it's such a distraction. It's such a watered down, just waste of people's time. It gets them thinking about stuff that is completely irrelevant. Oh, Jamaican hotel room. Oh yeah, election interference. You know, our whole political class being compromised because of Chinese money. No. Let's not talk about that on the CBC, right? No, of course not. And meanwhile, calling out the fact that the CBC is government funded is a threat to our democracy, according to Stephen Guilbeault. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining me on the show. You know, I apologize if I'm beating a dead horse too much here, but this stuff needs to be said. It needs to be repeated. People need to know this. Okay, people need to know this. Thank you so much for watching Controlled Opposition. If you do want to support the show, you can go to gregwycliffe.com. There's donation options available there. Aside from that, make sure you like this video if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe if you want to catch Controlled Opposition next week. There's also a Controlled Opposition playlist that you can check out. We're up at 14 episodes now. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. We're going to talk to you soon. And as always, it is okay to demand higher standards. Thanks for watching, guys.